Our messenger is not a stranger to us. We come, listen to her. She's exciting to listen to. And she brings her crew with her. That is also exciting. So that said, today's messenger is Miss Angela Ribeiro. Please give it up for Miss Angela.
Good morning, Unity of Miami Gardens. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Thank you for my friends. A special appreciation here for Pablo, who is here for the first time. Okay, Pablo. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Lucia, for bringing him over. I'd like to start with just offering a prayer for people who are in Jamaica. I know that there is a large community here of people who are from Jamaica. We just had a hurricane there, so let's use this service to hold them in prayer and see the presence of God there, helping them through their difficulties. And I'd like to start off with a question here to get us excited. And the question is this: have you ever seen yourself in a situation in which you study all this spiritual literature and you hear that there is a divine presence within us and that we have abundance available to us and that thoughts held in mind produce after their kind, that we are divine creations, and we feel very excited about all those things, and yet we have a difficult time to see the demonstration of it in our daily lives. We hear that there is divinity, but we don't feel divine. We hear that there is like an abundance of supply, but we don't experience it in our daily lives. Have you ever experienced that? That you know everything intellectually, but something's keeping you from being able to demonstrate it in your life? Most likely than not, there is something going on at a subconscious level that is keeping us from experiencing the best version of ourselves. And we cannot release that which we are not aware of. So the invitation here is in this service is, what is it about myself, my way of thinking, my beliefs that is keeping me on this little box? We need to bring awareness to it so that we may be able to release. According to Joe Dispenza, anybody know Joe Dispenza here? Yeah, oh, look, he's popular, Joe Dispenza. Okay. According to Joe Dispenza, a belief is a thought you keep thinking over and over again until it is hardwired in your brain. Therefore, if we have the bad habit of thinking, I'm not good enough, I don't have the right education, I am getting too old, life is tough, I can never experience all the abundance because I didn't go to college, I don't have the green card, or life, whatever it is. If we have the bad habit of thinking these thoughts again and again, they begin to become hardwired in our brain and become a belief. The good news is that we can begin to think about something else instead and rewire our brain. Now, the important thing is so once we become aware of what is it that we need to release, we have to practice the art of becoming master gardeners of the soil of our consciousness. Meaning what? A master gardener will begin to recognize the rocks, the stones, and the weeds in the garden, and the master gardener will begin to practice removing them, removing the rocks. What are the rocks? They are the limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough. I'm an outsider. I don't have what it takes. I'm too old. My body hurt. I don't have the energy. Right? Those are the limiting beliefs. We need to begin to identify. So the master gardener is identifying those beliefs and is allowing them to let go. They're not embracing anymore. Because if a limiting belief knock at the door of our consciousness, knock, knock, hey, listen, who are you? Who are you to call yourself the light of the world? The master gardener recognizes it and let it go. It doesn't embrace it. It doesn't identify with it. It doesn't think, oh my God, that's right. Who am I to call myself the light of the world? Oh my God, right? So the master gardener, recognizing that, begins to release chooses not to engage. Another thing that a master gardener does is to prepare the soil. So by removing all those rocks and the stones, the master gardener begins to prepare the soil for powerful seeds. And we do that by bringing our attention to the present moment again and again. See, the monkey mind, extremely active, is the one that is throwing rocks and stones and weeds in the garden of our soil. So the master gardener prepares the soil by practice being present as much as possible. And then the next step, the master gardener begins to seek out powerful seeds. For example, I'm a holy son or daughter of the Most High, or divine abundance is already to me. So the master gardener begins to expose his consciousness to higher truths. For example, like when you read the book that is inspiring you, or when you watch a video that really touches your heart, what are you doing? You're exposing your mind to higher things, and then you begin to dwell upon them. Let me remember this passage that I read in the book. Let me read it again. Let me open up for its deeper meaning. Let me bring it to remembrance. What am I doing? I'm nurturing those seeds that have been planted. That's what a master gardener does. So the invitation here is that we become the master gardener of the soil of our mind, and be very careful with what it is that we are planting on it. Now, I would like to get a quote here from John 15, verse 7. It's Jesus talking. So he goes, "If you abide in me and my words abide in you, you will ask what you desire and it shall be done for you." Meaning what? When we begin to dwell in this divine presence within ourselves, when we begin to dwell on its wisdom, so instead of dwelling on what's wrong with the world, what's wrong with my spouse, what's wrong with my job, we're dwelling upon the awareness that there is something greater within ourselves, and we begin to dwell on its wisdom. And it says that if you do that, you ask what you will, and it will be done unto you. So it's up to each one of us. Do I want to keep myself in a little box, in limitation, or do I want to begin to aspire the unlimited nature of myself, of ourselves? I love how Jesus told us, the things that I do, you can do it as well, and greater things than this, you can do it. Now, when Jesus said that with some level of certainty, it's because he knew something about us that most of us don't know. And what he knew was this. There is a time that he said, "I of my own self can do nothing, but the Father within doeth the works." Now you can call it the Father within, the Mother within, the Holy Spirit. You can call it Christ nature. You can call it Buddha nature. You can call it your higher self. It doesn't matter what you call. But Jesus knew that the same Father that was within him and doing the works, it's present within all of us. That's why he was able to say, the things that I did, you can do it as well, because it's not us doing, it's that greater presence within ourselves that is able to do the work. So we have to choose. Do I want to keep on thinking limiting thoughts and make them turn into a belief? Or do I want to begin to open up myself for a higher vision? The same vision that Jesus had about each one of us, that there is something in us that can go ahead and do the work in our behalf. There is a quote from Joe Goldsmith. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier in the service, who is familiar with the Way of Mastery and A Course in Miracles here? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Way of Mastery and the Course in Miracles, they are both channeled message by Yeshua, and in both books they give like a road map into the Christ consciousness. So what the teachings of the book say, something that it's very important, and it says the fullness of love with its power, its wisdom, its abundance, it's already here. You do not need to look for it, but instead you need to look for the obstacles to the awareness of it. So that's the practice. I'm going to repeat because this is very important. According to the teachings of the Way of Mastery and A Course in Miracles, the fullness of love, with its power, its wisdom, its abundance, it's already here. You don't need to look for it, but you need to look for what is that it's keeping you from perceiving. What are the limiting beliefs that you're having? And you can see that it's most likely than not, they are habits of mind. What is it that you keep on thinking again and again and again that is keeping you small? I don't know if you realize, but most of us have like 70 to 90,000 thoughts a day, something like that. That's what they say. It just, right? Something like that. 65? Okay, some of us have less, depends on how much practice you do. Some of you have more, right? But the key here is, what is the normal frequency of this thought pattern? Is it on the negative side or is it on the positive side? We need to begin to bring awareness because that's what's keeping us small. And if we notice that most of my thoughts is in the lower side, I don't like this, I don't like that, I'm not good, we need to bring awareness to it and begin to consciously lift it up. I remember when one of the co-founders of Unity, Myrtle Fillmore, in her early stages of life, she used to have the belief that because she came from a family that a lot of people experience illnesses, especially tuberculosis, she had the thought that I'm going to have it as well. You know, look at my family. Everybody in my family had tuberculosis. Therefore, I don't have good genes. Very likely I'm going to have one of those. And guess what happened? She ended up having tuberculosis. Why? Because she believed it. She accepted that. Now, when she was introduced to the New Thought movement, she was like, wow, there's something else. I'm a daughter of God. Therefore, I don't inherit any illness. That's a completely different thought. So she began to going through this phase of her life, which took a couple of years, in which she was practicing, I'm going to release the old, I'm going to embrace the new. I'm going to release the old, I'm going to embrace the new. And what happens with the passing of time, there was a critical point in which that which we believe intellectually becomes a conviction in the heart, and she was able to attain a full and complete healing. But the key point here is it doesn't happen overnight. We're not going to be able to release those things that are deep down at an unconscious level overnight. And so to help us be patient with the path, I'm going to give a quick illustration here. There is a seed, I don't know if from Japan or from China, it's from a bamboo tree, that when you plant it on the ground, for the first 4 years, you don't see nothing. You almost think like, something's wrong with that seed. But for the first 4 years, the seed breaks and grows down. It begins to create this deep root system. You don't see anything, but it's just going down. On the 4th year, like this tiny little bamboo plant begins to spring forth. And in less than 1 year, that tiny little thing turns into a giant tree, like 30, 40 foot high in less than 1 year. Why? Because for this whole time, it was preparing itself by growing deep roots. And all of a sudden, same thing happens to us on the spiritual path. Sometimes we keep on doing the right thing, and we keep on doing the right thing, and we don't see any results. And we have this tendency, oh my God, it's not working for me. Maybe I should go back to the old ways of being. The invitation here is keep on keeping on. Keep on releasing the old and embracing the new, because one day you will reach that turning point and it will become a conviction in the heart. That's when we are able to be able to show the full manifestation of everything that is meant to be ours. And I know that we are tempted to believe that just because I don't see, it's not there. Like they say, oh yeah, God's abundance is everywhere, and you are the heir of it. And it's like, well, I don't see it. It's not in my bank account, and I need proof, right? Sometimes we have the tendency to want to see in order to believe. And so there's another passage from Scripture from John 4, verse 35, and it goes like this. Do you not say there are still 4 months, and then comes the harvest? Behold, I say to you, lift up your eyes and look at the fields, for they are already white for harvest. So look up, stop looking at your bank account or what's going on around the world. Look up to the spiritual perception of abundance, and you will be able to demonstrate it. That was precisely what Jesus did when he had this multitude of 5,000 people who were hungry, and he did not have enough to feed the multitudes. What did he do? He praised what he had. He looked up to the sky, or, just symbolically speaking, to the spiritual realm, which abundance was. And in doing that, he was able to make that abundance tangible in the experience that he was having. So to bring this message to a conclusion here, I'm going to get a quote from Gautama Buddha, because I think it's good to make like a salad, you just quote from different people. So you see that everywhere leads to the same spiritual truth. And according to Buddha, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. So to bring this message to a conclusion, if there's something holding you back, don't look for it outside of you. There's something going on inside of you that you need to turn your attention to it, recognize it, heal it, and let it go. For it is by letting go of the old that we can embrace the new. And if we are persistent on the path, in spite of the appearances, we will be able to fulfill that vision that Jesus had, that everything that he did, we can do it as well, and greater things we will be able to do, because it's not us doing, but it's the Holy One within ourselves. Thank you very much.